Hey, we're a couple days into the fusion. My free to play just hit 150, and I've got my mic no longer on mute. Let's talk about it. Hello, everyone. Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends now that my mic is no longer on mute. Yes, I am a professional here. We are here on the free to pause account. As you can see, I'm running my clan boss, and I hit day 150 technically last night. So, given when I started this account, sometime probably around 2 o'clock this afternoon. So maybe in 6-ish, 7-ish hours, I will have officially had this account for 150 days. So I wanted to check in a little bit on some progress for this account, because there's actually been quite a bit of progress over the past day or two. A lot of it due to the fusion, a lot of it due to champion training for the fusion as well. But there's a couple of big things that are either happening today or are happening this week. So I wanted to talk about them a little bit and figured, what better than to show you kind of how my clan boss team has been going. As you can see here, I'm just about to hit the safe 3-key level here. So we hit just about 23.4 million, and that is a safe 3-key. And I should be blowing by that. On this affinity, generally I can blow by that almost all the time. And when I say almost all the time, there's always a little bit of RNG involved, particularly given I am running a 1-star Brimstone Blessing on Tyrant. Tyrant tends to be the stun target in some of these teams sometimes, so he doesn't always actually get a turn. We are starting to get to the point where champions may start to die every once in a while. But you know what? That's fine. And, I've done enough damage. 25 million is more than enough. That gives me a little extra buffer. If I can dip below it a little bit and then dip above it again, that's fine. I can get to about 30 million on magic here. I average closer to 20 to 22 million on force still. For force is a 4-key. I can do 3-key damage, but not consistently at the moment. But again, I have an awful lot of magic champions, so that is not a huge surprise. And then for spirit, where this team generally flexes, it can be as low as about 23 million. I've seen it as high as 35 to 37 million before. In fact, I've gone 54 turns on the Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss against Spirit. It just happens. I'm not really quite sure how I managed to actually go 4 turns past where unkillable teams get killed. But hey, it works. I'm not going to complain too much. So would I like to improve it a bit? Yes. Do I have the champs that can improve it? No, I really haven't. So outside of making the gear significantly better, this is kind of the team I'm with until I can pull a couple champions and make that better. All right, so we're gonna do part of this from the fastidious calculator or calendar, as it were. I'll leave a link to that below in case you're interested in this tool. If you log in, this is great because this can track everything for you, so you can always double check and make sure you've done everything. Nice and easy to use. As you can see here, I have my Ice Golem tournament is in progress. I may end up skipping that. I'm not 100% sure because I have the epic and I have 6 rares already. So to be fair, I don't like missing an event that I don't have to miss early, but I am very sure this Dungeon Divers is going to be tough because it was actually really tough last night finishing this Dungeon Divers. I had more than enough energy and more than enough gems to do it, but it was a conscious effort for me to push to finish that Dungeon Divers, because despite the fact that I ran a lot of campaign for champion training, and despite the fact that I ran a bunch of the event dungeon, as well as enough spider to get the top reward in the spider dungeon, Dungeon Divers continues to just suck, honestly. They have skewed it towards late game players, and an early game player, Dungeon Divers is probably one of the worst experiences in the game, and I will continue to call Polarium out on that. They have made the Dungeon Divers points way too high, and I think they need to drop them a little bit or figure out a way to boost some of the lower level ones just a little bit to make it just a little bit easier for most players. One of those two things would work if they were to simply add like a point or two here to a lot of the lower level things like getting rares or getting 5 stars, for example. That would be very helpful. Even 4 stars, they can add a little points for some of that stuff. just make it a little more attainable. I know that you want to make sure that people actually are actively trying for the fusion. You don't want to make it a gimme because, I guess they're looking for people to engage in the game and work for it. So I get some of that. I get you don't want to just flat out give away the champion, even though you are giving away this champion for brand new players. And again, I'm not angry about that. I think that that's actually a smart move because that means that players that start during this event don't miss out on one of the champions as a guaranteed they can never get that champion or are unlikely to ever get that champion. Particularly if they're going to advertise for that champion, it really seems kind of like a poor move to say, hey, look at this cool champion. You want to join play our game? Tough. You can't have them. That is not good. So I get it. I don't think it's a horrible thing. Plus, you have to choose to not get something like a Supreme Gallic or a Monkey King. So that's the last time I'm really going to talk about that. I've talked about it a couple times. I'm not mad about that at all. That said, make it a little bit easier for your in-game actual players to get it too. You did have a wonderful, the Midsummer's code was not bad. Throw some stuff out there for the existing players as well. We appreciate it. Anyway, so as you can see here, I have 6 of the rares and 1 of the epics. In fact, if you look down over here, you can see I have 3 of them ready. So I have the epic and 2 of the rares ready. When you are ready, you can actually just click this little button here. So this is great. This actually gives you a good calendar. So if I wanted to decide if I skip the tournament here, I can click this from finished and then to skipped. Or if I get this dude from whatever reason, I can click him there and then I'm done with it. We're good to go. So that's how you use the calendar. And if you log in, it will save all this progress for you. If not, you can just refill it out as you need to. Maybe take screenshots to save it. I would recommend possibly logging in. You don't have to stay logged in if you don't want to. And you can use all kinds of different accounts to log into the website. But overall, it is very easy to keep track of where we are with this. And I wanted to do this because on my free-to-play, I did not want to miss this fusion. So I wanted to make sure I knew what I could and couldn't do, where all my rares were. And to be fair, there were a couple of times where I was like, did I lose a rare? What happened to them? And I found out that one of them was in my inbox. So this was very, very helpful in me finding one of the champions. Very helpful as well. So once we get all these things, so if I were to build a couple of these guys, so if I build these 2, and then I can click on one of these guys manually and put him in here now that I've fused one of him as well. And you'll see here we have the potions collected, the void potions, the arcane, and the fodder tracker. The fodder tracker, unfortunately, only does the 3 stars. It does not do the 4 stars. But if I were then click here, it will then check off all the ones that I've used, so I don't need all of them. So it'd say, hey, I'm halfway through here. I only need 40 more of the greater and 12 more of the superior, as well as some of these arcanes as well. So, and then if I unclick that and then get rid of him there, I've gotten rid of him, so we are all good. So this has been great for tracking this sort of stuff. Let me put that back to in progress. And as you can see here, I am, 50%, maybe a little more than 50% of the way done, other than I haven't fused the second epic yet. But I am not going to be fusing the other epics until we get to the champion chase. So the champion chase, there's a good chance, unless I do everything up until, well, even if I do the, technically I could do enough stuff to, during the champion chase, use the ability to get these 3 epics here for 750 champion chase points. I am going to assume that that is not going to be the case. I'm only going to be able to get 2 of them because this is going to be one of the rares I'm going to get. And in fact, I'm probably going to plan on being able to fuse 2 of them because if I grab this one here and then either the Dragon Tournament and the Artifact Enhancement beforehand, by the time I get to the champion chase, I should have a total of, we look over here, I should have a total of 9 of the rares before I get to the champion chase. So that'll let me fuse 2 of them. So that's fine. And that doesn't feel like I'm pushing the account too hard to be able to do that. So how have I managed to do all of these events so far? Well, we'll talk about that a little bit while we do a tour of the account. So first of all, we're going to hop over into the fragment summons to show you 2 things. Well, actually 3 things here. So I've got Ishiyama, so I can pull him for 500 more points. I also have Quintus finished. I finished him late last night. Quintus will be my first Void Legendary, which is strange and amazing. I never would have thought in 2025 that Quintus would be the first Void Legendary that I got, particularly the first free Void Legendary I got. I thought it would actually probably be Mithrala. As you can see, Mithrala, I'm at 97. And I may have actually messed this up because I ended up not running a hard key on Hydra last week because of reasons. And as a result, I didn't get two of the hard chests. And if I'd gotten two of the hard chests, I would have gotten at least 299, possibly 100, even if I got the lowest chest on hard. So the good news is I'm going to get a guaranteed 4 of them next week, but I only need 3 of them, so I'm going to get Mithrala this Wednesday. So I will have Quintus and Mithrala, and there's a good chance that they will be making appearances on my account during the champion chase, even if I don't necessarily need all the points, because it is going to be a 2x Ancients, and I do plan on pulling my Ancients on this account because I think that's going to make a huge account difference here. So, yeah, I've got these two back in the bag. I'm working on Lamasu. Certainly not going to have her in time. Definitely not going to have Drexstar or Embrace. But, we've gotten pretty far on some of these free fusion champions here. In fact, you see I've actually gotten 30 fragments towards Jamarsa as well. If you guys want to help me with Jamarsa, I can certainly leave a link down below where you can start an account to help me out. I do appreciate that here. I do have DefNot here has been working towards getting a free takeover. So anybody who does one of these referral links, hits me up. I will do a free full takeover of any kind for you for, helping me out with this if you get that to level 50. So definitely appreciate you. So as you can see here, I've got a decent amount of energy still, and I've got 2,300 gems. Now, I had about 3,000 gems, and I did go very hard into both champ training and the event dungeon to make sure that I got my dungeon divers done. But I didn't have to do dungeon divers because I did the epic, because I had enough of the sacreds here. As you can see, I still have 2 sacreds left. I pulled 13 of them, as you should have been able to see in the video yesterday. I didn't have to necessarily pull the 13th one, but I chose to because I wanted the extra legendary book, which I have pulled enough mysteries to get to. And as you can see, I'm at exactly 6,600. I don't need anything else up here. I mean, I wouldn't hate a 5-star chicken, but I need to pull the last 2 of them to get anywhere near some of this stuff, and that's not really going to help me that much. Plus, that doesn't even get me there. Pulling 2 more of these things gets me to almost another legendary book. I would rather save these shards for another event, even though it is very tempting given I am now well into Mercy on my ancient or sacred shards. But, you got to be disciplined on the free-to-play, and as much as it sometimes feels great to pull these shards, I know that I am not always getting the top chest of Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare on this account, so getting those sacreds can be a little bit rough. The good news is we are slowly but surely getting our way towards a Doom Tower reset, so Doom Tower does reset in 5 days. So while that's certainly not going to help me immediately, the Doom Tower reset is going to give me a chance to get another Sacred or 2, depending on how well I can do in hard mode Dark Doom Tower. Plus, of course, we'll have the monthlies. Plus, obviously, we will have, just time. Time will give you additional shards if you're patient. So extra time will be very helpful as well. So this is the team I have been running on my free-to-play for level 20. It is not perfect. It is not quite 100%. I am working on it. I think I need to finish masteries on Artor, and I need to finish masteries on Fabian. I think Fabian slowly but surely leveling up to level 60 will certainly help. Fabian was one of my recent 6 stars. And, I didn't necessarily need to 6-star him specifically because he was doing a great job at 5 stars. But at some point in time, he was worth 6-starring because I will be able to get his stats significantly better with a 6-star mastery at some point in time. Of course, that means I need to actually finish his masteries. So I've been finishing in his masteries. That is where a lot of my gems have gone. So I have spent a lot of my free spend gems that I did not necessarily have allocated for this fusion, into getting masteries done in a couple of champions that I hadn't finished them with yet. So I have been running here. I've got Archmage, as you can see. Archmage was my other 6-star. I needed somebody to do a little bit of damage in Bannerlords. I needed the extra control, and Archmage is actually a very, very good champion. He is the first Doom Tower champion, so it's been great to unlock him as well. So he was my first, well, he was my second 6-star. Fabian was technically the first 6-star for in this champion training. I actually had saved up enough 5-star chickens as far as the actual chickens concerned to make both of these to 6-stars without actually needing to make a 5-star chicken manually, which was great. So the other thing I've then been doing during this champion training is training up a couple of other champions that are 4-stars that probably could be 5-stars for some general progression content in Faction Wars, because there's certainly a couple of factions I have been hard stuck on, and some of it is because I have not invested in going beyond 4-stars with some of those champions, and some of it is because I don't have enough good champions to really want to push that faction particularly hard. That said, there are some champions I know will be on the final team or will likely be on the final team. So those are champions I can at least 5-star for now, make some additional progress. So I'm farming a higher level of from the faction wars as well. And if for some reason they don't make it onto the team, until then, I will have been farming higher and better resources in faction wars to do it. And just so you know, I will do more on the event dungeon. I'm going to make a dedicated event dungeon video at some point in time talking about some of the teams I've experimented with, both on my main and on my free-to-play. So do look forward to that. So that's not why I'm not showing the build for that particular team yet. To be fair, as I mentioned, it is not 100%. It is kind of what I've cobbled together on this particular account, but it works fairly well. Looking at the other dungeons here, so we ran some spiders because that was what was needed, and I can run level 25 spider. It looks like with Ice Golem, it is going to be 2x provoke, so I could really use some provoke gear, actually. So I think I probably will actually run this and try to get this. For Ice Golem, I could possibly farm higher than where I'm farming, but stage 20 is a very efficient one for dungeon divers as well as for the event dungeons. Technically, it is the second most efficient one above stage 10, although stage 10, I believe you can still get some potions, so that may not be quite as efficient as it could be otherwise. So stage 20, very, very efficient overall. So I will be farming stage 20. It's also safe. It's also faster. Ice Golem is certainly a dangerous one to farm. And while my teams have certainly gotten better, Ice Golem is always a finicky one because what I really need for normal is I need more poisoners, and I don't have a lot of poisoners on this particular account. And then for hard, I do have a burner that I can certainly use in Tyrant, who's not a bad solo for the boss, but I don't have the gear to make him solo the boss, and I'm using him in so many other areas that getting the gear to solo the boss would make him not as viable in other areas. So, Ice Golem 20 it is, but that's fine. That should get me some good provoke gear. Provoke gear is absolutely amazing for progressing in Hydra. So as I get more and more champions that I will want to use in Hydra, I will eventually start building somebody in provoke gear, because provoke gear gives you an AoE attack that also can land provokes, allowing you to keep the Hydra head that you need to provoke provoked significantly longer and significantly easier than having to either manual an A1 target for it, or worse, to hope that your AoE lands even if you don't have a 100% rate to land it. So yeah, I'll be doing some Ice Golem as well. As far as the champion training is concerned, you can see I think I needed 6,600 points for this here. I'm actually second in this event. I'm probably not going to finish this event, but I do want to get these extra points towards a primal shard, because primal shards are good. That's how you get mythicals. And they're also useful currency if I struggle for an event where I need points. So if I have to start pulling mythical shards or primal shards for points, because I don't have enough sacreds, they are an option at least. So it's nice to have the option even if I don't want to do it. But so this is not unattainable in a day and a half to get additional training to get up there. And I will probably use that to finish training some of the rares and for the fusion, so I can make sure that I can get them ready to be able to fuse into the epic when the next champion chase comes up. So, it's how I've been doing the champion training. I have been I made a bunch of 2-star chickens when I'm not doing normal champion training. So basically, during my dailies, when my daily quests come up here, if I get the one that is beat not this one here, we're looking for beat a campaign battle 7 times, I will often run that campaign battle 10 times with a bunch of 2-stars and make them 3-stars. As you can see right here, I've already made these guys some 3-stars. They're the last ones I ran through that. I may not actually make them 3-stars until the champion training comes up so that I have enough 3-star chickens to be able to go. So that means I can continue to, tavern up a 1-star into itself to make it a 2-star. As you can see, I've got a bunch of 1-stars here because I've been pulling a bunch of mystery shards. I can then take these 2-stars and turn them into 3-stars, and then I have enough 3-star chickens to kind of feed the chicken farm here. So as we start building some of these other champions, I will then take these 3-stars, run them to level 30, make them 4-stars, feed them 6 brews, get them to level 25. As you can see here, I've got a couple of these champions that are chickens here. So these guys are chicken ready as far as I'm concerned. So they are ready for me to feed into a 40 champion to make them a 5-star. Thank you, Live Arena. I appreciate you opening. And we can then either build these guys up further so that I can make them 5-star chickens, or I will feed them into somebody that's either going to be a 5-star chicken or somebody I want to advance to 5 stars for either progression purposes or, again, for chicken purposes. So that has kind of been my strategy for champion training, and it works pretty well. And generally, every champion training event that comes across, even if it's not during a fusion, I generally have found that I can make a 6-star, and in the process of making that 6-star, that has been good enough to get me most of the way to the event reward that I want for a champion training, and it's also advancing the account. So, if I'm doing a 1 6-star a week, maybe 2 6-stars a week in some cases, that's fine. During the last couple weeks when I was preparing for this fusion, I did slow down a little bit, which is why I had as many of the 3,000 gems up here. So I've been spending the gems, but we've been doing pretty well. So that is the progress that we have made here on the free-to-play here. If we actually go check Faction Wars quickly, just to look at that, as you can see, I'm at 760. I have definitely hit a bit of a lull in there. That said, I mentioned I did build a 6-star Archmage. So 6-star Archmage let me get pay at stage 14 and pay at stage 15. I may try stage 16. Stage 15 was fine-ish on auto. It ran kind of long because at some point in time it became Lady Annabelle soloing the last wave. For stage 16, that looked like that was going to be coming a little sooner rather than later. And at some point in time, Lady Annabelle's not doing enough damage and the other team is healing and reviving. So I do have to watch it a little bit. I might have to manual some stuff with it, but that's fine. So my Bannerlords here, Lady Annabelle's been a big hard carry. Archmage is really good. Giscard's been a very viable champion for me. Honestly, I think I need to 5-star Dagger, and then what I really need is to replace Seneschal with some kind of healing and or reviver to not only keep everybody alive, but hopefully pull somebody back up from the dead. The biggest problem I've had with this faction is the only reviver. In fact, I think the only 2 revivers in this faction the only reviver that's not legendary in this faction that I am aware of is Ursula, and she is void. So, yep, Ursula the Mourner, only reviver in this faction that is not a legendary champion that I'm aware of. So for this faction, it is definitely a little bit difficult, but Archmage does some decent damage. Lady Annabelle brings me some good support and just generally stays alive. Giscard's doing some decent damage as well as some wave control. Dagger brings me some debuffing as well, which makes the waves a lot easier. Plus, she can bring some damage as well. And as a 5-star, she should actually stay alive a little bit better. She's kind of squishy. And if Dagger doesn't make it onto my team, it's kind of nice to still have a Void, decreased defense, 5-star rare, just because there's some secret rooms where that actually could be useful as well. So there is my progress at day 150. I guess I probably should show you here. We go to the daily login reward. Day 150, Lordly Legionary. aka Lousy Legionary. He went immediately to the vault. He is an absolutely terrible champion. So, yeah, I was not looking forward to using him, and he happily went into the vault and got me some champion training points by drinking some brews. So there we go. Hopefully you guys are enjoying following the free-to-play stuff. I know this kind of was a little rambly. To be fair, I got up this morning and realized that I had not sent my editor the proper video because I am a true professional. And so I'm recording this rather early in the morning to make sure that I can get a video out to you guys today. So hopefully you guys are having some progress in the fusion. Let me know where you're at. What events have you managed to do? Are you on track to make the fusion? Are you skipping the fusion? Any questions on how I managed to get some of the success I've gotten? Any specific questions on some of my builds? You know, if you've got some questions, maybe I'll do a Q&A session with some of your questions down below on the free-to-play. I certainly would love to, but day 150, this account has certainly come a long way, but it's also got a long way to go. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate all the love and support you give me right back at you. You guys are absolutely amazing. And until the next video, I'm Bront.